there. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on the Weather Network. I'm Emily Vukovic. It's Tuesday. It is March the 3rd, and we are in storm watch. If you're looking outside and you're thinking, well, for what? It's just kind of cold. We have a very powerful system on the way that's not only going to bring us a decent amount of snow, freezing rain, and ice pellets. Those are going to be our biggest issue. And not even them in a whole, but the timing of the freezing rain and the ice pellets, that's going to be our major issue. Freezing rain warning in place stretches from Oakville through Hamilton down towards the Niagara region. Toronto, Milton, not included in this. Neither is Kitchener, Waterloo, and through Guelph. So you don't have to worry too much. Not to say that you won't see any of this, but the areas that are going to see the most, because temperatures are going to be the warmest into the warm sector, are just going to be on that western southern tip of Lake Ontario. The timing of this is during your evening commute. That is going to be the biggest issue. Now, if we look at the radar right now, I'm just going to grab my clicker. If we look at the radar right now, you can actually see it just down towards the south. Windsor's starting to get a little bit of snow. This is going to be all snow to start. That's what we're going to be dealing with. So 5 to 10 centimeters, certainly not out of the question throughout the day today. Temperatures, they're going to be tricky. They're going to play with us a little bit. We're looking at -8 right now, feeling more like the -10. So it's cold throughout southern Ontario. -14 through Orangeville, -13 through Barrie, and -13 through Newmarket. What's going to happen this afternoon is that we really do start to warm up. We're looking at -4 for Toronto, -2 in Hamilton. Now, as you can see, I mean, it's much colder to the north than it is to the south because we have this warm sector pushing in. So we're really going to get a push of warm southerly air with this system. And that is why we're going to see that transition from snow to a rain-snow mix to the potential for ice pellets and freezing rain. By this afternoon, it'll just be inching towards the Hamilton area, and then by the evening, that is when it's going to be at its worst. So if you travel west on your commute, it's not great. If you travel north or if you travel east, it's not going to be great either because there's going to be snow on the ground. But at least snow provides a little bit of traction. And then tomorrow morning, we really start to clear out. The system will end, looks to be in between 10 and midnight, probably closer to 10. But regardless, it's going to be a bit of a mess today. Snowfall amounts, we're looking at about 5 to 10 centimeters. So again, not great. Take a look at this must-see video. Snow places in and around there have gotten. Now, we're nothing near that today, but we are still in storm watch. I'll have more details on your long-range forecast, get you right into the weekend. But first, here's Tom with traffic. This morning, not a bad start. As Tom was mentioning, your drive should be okay. We'll start to see increased cloud cover. And then this, as I pause it, this is around noon. So the heaviest snow is going to be coming in between kind of noon and 4 p.m. And then as we get into that warm sector, that's where we get into that tricky forecast. That's when we get that push of warm air. That is when we can see the transition to freezing rain and ice pellets. Even along the shores of Erie, you can actually see a little bit of rain, straight rain, because temperatures hovering around that freezing mark, maybe going even a little bit above. Tomorrow we do start to clear out. Will be mild, but it's going to be an early daytime high, and then temperatures will be dropping. So the big issue here is that all of that precipitation, that freezing rain and the rain, that's all going to freeze, making for slippery road conditions Wednesday and into Thursday. More storm watch coverage continues. Thanks, Jacqueline. For more signs behind the weather, you can just head to our website, theweathernetwork.com. I'm Emily Vukovic. It's Tuesday. It is the 3rd of March. And yeah, we're in storm watch. And that tie-in to freezing rain is very appropriate today because we do have a freezing rain warning. This is not for right now. It is not for this morning. This is for this evening. We've got a system on the way, and you can see from the radar, it's just starting to push into the Windsor, just getting on the doorstep of London area. We are going to see straight snow to start. Temperatures are cold. We're looking at -8 through Toronto right now, -10 in Hamilton, -13 through Barrie, and -13 through Newmarket. We are going to be warming up throughout the day. We're looking at -4 through Toronto, -2 through Hamilton. And then the evening is where things get really, really tricky. This afternoon, all snow. We're looking at our heaviest snow anywhere between kind of noon and 4 p.m. And then temperatures are going to be warming up enough with that push of warm air from the south that we are going to see a transition to a bit of a rain-snow mix, freezing rain, and ice pellets throughout the western shores of the GTA. So anywhere kind of Toronto south through Burlington, Oakville, through Hamilton, that's where we do have the biggest risk of seeing very slippery conditions. And none of this is epic in terms of amounts. I mean, we're seeing about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow, which we can all handle, of course, but the timing of the system couldn't be worse. It's going to be happening during your evening commute. So the snow will begin around midday, continue to be heavy, and then there's that warm front. That's when we start to see that transition to freezing rain and ice pellets as our temperatures warm up. We clear out relatively quickly. By about 10 o'clock tonight, all should be said and done. But then temperatures are going to be dropping behind the system, so all that precipitation is going to freeze. High pressure moves in. We see some sunshine for the remainder of the week. Things are looking good. Tom is going to be coming up in just a few moments with your traffic report, so make sure you stay with us. Hi there, thanks for joining us. We are in storm watch for a system that's moving in through the GTA throughout the day today. We'll start off with snow. Temperatures will get a little warmer, and we do have that risk of freezing rain and ice pellets. Areas through Oakville and Burlington, down through Hamilton and Dunnville, Simcoe over towards Woodstock. Everybody's in a freezing rain warning for this evening. We're going to start off with snow. Depending on where you are, amounts are really going to vary, but it looks as though, generally speaking, throughout southern Ontario, 5 to 10 centimeters is expected. Now, here's a look at your snow. Hi there, good morning. We are in storm watch through the GTA, not for what's happening right now, but for what's coming later on this afternoon. I'm Emily Vukovic. It is Tuesday. It is the 3rd of March, and we've got some snow on the way. Starting off with snow, transitioning to freezing rain and ice pellets, and then some areas could actually pick up just straight rain today. I know. After the coldest February on record, we're getting rain. What? I know. Freezing rain warning in place throughout the day today. It stretches through Oakville, down through Burlington, Hamilton, over through Niagara into St. Catharines. It is going to be a very messy evening commute. I mean, we're not seeing epic amounts of snow with this system, but as you can see, it is starting to move in through the Windsor area, through London. I know lots of school buses are canceled in that area, so I wouldn't be surprised if parts of the GTA start to follow suit. Right now we're looking at temperatures around -8 through Toronto, -13 through Newmarket, as well as in through Barrie, -10 through Hamilton, and in through Kitchener we're looking at -12. This afternoon, we warm up slightly, -4 for Toronto, -2 for Hamilton, -4 for Kitchener, and then the precip starts. This will happen around noon. We'll start to see the snow move in, and then by this evening, I mean, the timing of this honestly couldn't be worse. If you are east and north of the city of Toronto, so if you're over towards Oshawa, straight, picture a line kind of from Oshawa over towards Barrie, you're seeing all snow with this system, which is good because at least snow provides a little bit of traction, but freezing rain and ice pellets do not. So this is going to be happening to your evening commute. We've got freezing rain stretching from Toronto down through Oakville into Hamilton and Burlington. Like I said, over towards the Niagara region, in through St. Catharines. The good news about this system, I know I'm switching back and forth, bad news, good news, bad news, good news, but it will end relatively quickly. By about 10 o'clock tonight, it'll be over, and then we're just going to see a little bit of lake enhancement. And then we've got about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow on the way. So that's our total snowfall amounts. Certainly not epic, but enough to make roads very dicey later on this afternoon. Talk more about the long range, but first, here's Tom. Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Emily Vukovic. It's Tuesday. It is the 3rd of March, and we are in storm watch throughout southern Ontario. We have a fairly impactful system on the way. We're not going to see a ton of snow or a ton of ice accumulation with this system, but the timing of it couldn't be worse. The freezing rain that we're looking at right now, the freezing rain warning that stretches through Oakville, through Burlington and Hamilton, this is for later on this afternoon when temperatures actually start to warm up. We are going to start, however, as snow. And you can see the snow already starting to build in through Windsor. It's just on the doorstep through London. I don't know if you can see it because it's right at the bottom of your screen, but we do have shades of pink starting to come in. That's that freezing rain. This afternoon, all snow for Toronto straight down to Hamilton. Snowfall rates, we're looking at about 1 to 2 centimeters an hour. Heaviest snowfall is going to be falling in between noon and about 4 p.m. So if you have stuff to get out and do at that time, that's going to be the snow. I would almost recommend if you need to go out then, because then the freezing rain is going to start to move in. And no, we're not going to see a huge ice storm. There's not going to be ice accretion on the trees and cars, but it is going to be enough on top of 5 to 6, possibly even 10 centimeters of snow to make the roads just a disaster. And that switchover is really going to be happening kind of, 3 to 5 southern portions of the GTA and then kind of 5 p.m. onwards for the rest of the city area. We are going to see it move out by about 10 o'clock tonight, and then pre-dawn tomorrow we'll see a little bit of lake effect snow around the shores of Huron and Georgian Bay. All in all, we're looking at about 5 to 10 centimeters, but like I said, it's going to be coming in hard and fast, so moderate snowfall, 1 to 2 centimeters an hour. And it's going to be mild. We've got temperatures warming through the afternoon and in through the evening. So again, this is going to be kind of our worst window, and then behind the cold front, temperatures are going to be cooling it down. So not good. Talk more on Storm Watch. We'll get to Tom in just a minute, but first, let's take a look at this must-see video. The rescue got in there. Everybody got out safely, but how scary would that be? All right, your Storm Watch coverage continues. We'll talk a little bit more about what to get into the weekend. Yeah, we'll talk long range, but first, here's Tom with traffic. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, we are in storm watch, not for now, as Kevin was mentioning, but for later on this afternoon. And if you're just getting up and you're thinking, okay, do I drive or do I take public transit today? If you live west end of the city, public transit, absolutely, because the timing of the system couldn't be worse. I mean, we're not seeing epic amounts of snow. We're not seeing a ton of freezing rain, not a lot of ice accretion. This is not going to be a big, huge freezing rain event, but it is coming at the worst time possible, right in time for your evening drive. So we've got that freezing rain warning stretching through Oakville, Burlington, down through Hamilton. As you can see on the radar, snow starting to move in through Windsor, through London. I know a lot of municipalities have canceled school buses in those areas. We are going to start off as all snow. So this is this morning into the afternoon, Hamilton through Toronto. Snow is going to be falling at a moderate rate. We're looking at about 1 to 2 centimeters an hour. The snow is going to be better traction than the freezing rain. So if you live east of the city or north of the city, I mean, your drive is going to fare a little bit better. But really, who are we kidding? 5 to 10 centimeters of snow is not a lot of fun to drive in when it's coming down pretty quick. We've got freezing rain stretching from Toronto down through Hamilton, in through Burlington, all the way over towards the Niagara region and in through St. Catharines. This system will be out by later on tonight. 5 to 10 centimeters widespread throughout the GTA. And like I said, the timing of this, it's bad. We'll talk more about your spring outlook, which, by the way, comes up every top of the hour at about 3 minutes past. So make sure you stay with us for that. But first, here's Tom with traffic. Thanks, Kevin. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Weather Network. I'm Emily Vukovic. It's Tuesday. It is the 3rd of March. And everybody get ready to do a little song and dance, because before I get to our watches and warnings and the big mess that's coming in, let's just think about spring for a minute. Okay, it's 17 days away and our spring outlook gets released today. So make sure you tune in 3 minutes past every hour. We're going to be talking about a general outlook across the country. And then tonight, we're going to be talking about your regional outlook at 9 p.m. So do not miss it. I know spring, after February being record-breaking cold, spring just sounds so nice right now, doesn't it? Okay, forget spring, back to winter. We've got a freezing rain warning in place. Oakville through Burlington, through Hamilton, over towards St. Catharines, Niagara. This is for this afternoon into tonight. What's going to be happening? Well, as you can see, we've got the snow moving in already through Windsor and in through London. It's all starting off as snow. So straight snow to start, and it's going to be falling at a fairly moderate rate. We're looking at about 1 to 2 centimeters an hour, and the heaviest snow is going to be falling in between kind of noon and 4 p.m. By later on this afternoon, areas west of the city will start to warm up significantly and get into that kind of freezing rain, ice pellet scenario. Now take a look at the evening temperatures. You can see Newmarket, chances are good you're going to stay all snow. Up through Barrie, you're going to stay all snow, but that freezing line is going to stretch kind of anywhere west of Toronto down through Hamilton, in through Burlington and Oakville. It's going to be quite messy. And it's going to continue to be messy right through the evening, and then it'll taper off through the overnight. Okay, we're going to throw things over to Tom in just a moment, but first, take a look at this must-see video. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Tom. He's got an update on your commute. Thanks, Kevin. You know, somebody actually just tweeted me and said, you're not happy unless you're giving bad news, are you? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I said, well, who says I'm happy about freezing rain? I could just not tell you. Would you prefer that? No, of course not. You need to know about this kind of stuff because this is unfortunately coming in time, just in time for your evening commute. We're looking at freezing rain stretching just west of the city, so through Oakville, through Burlington, down through Hamilton, in through the Niagara region. I mean, it's going to make roads very slippery. I think there's a couple of big tie-ins with this system. The first one is that, yes, we do have snow on the way. It's going to start off as snow. It is going to be falling at a fairly moderate rate. We're looking at snow falling about 1 to 2 centimeters an hour in between the hours of noon and 4 p.m. So that's where we've got all snow this afternoon. Now, this evening, a lot of areas are going to switch over to freezing rain and ice pellets, hence the freezing rain warning. But notice the temperature discrepancy. Look at Barrie. You're looking at -4. You're going to stay all snow. And then look at Hamilton. We're looking at a temperature hovering around the freezing mark. That's where we're going to get that transition into ice pellets and freezing rain. rain. So this evening, it's going to be a mess on the roads after 5 to 6 centimeters of snow. Throw some freezing rain on there. Oof, it's going to be a mess. It'll move out by about 10 o'clock tonight. In total, we're looking at about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Your spring outlook comes up at 3 minutes past the hour. You don't want to miss that, and you don't want to miss Tom. Here he is with traffic. Hi there, thanks for joining us. We are in storm watch for a system that's moving in through the GTA throughout the day today. We'll start off with snow. Temperatures will get a little warmer, and we do have that risk of freezing rain and ice pellets. Areas through Oakville and Burlington, down through Hamilton and Dunnville, Simcoe over towards Woodstock. Everybody's in a freezing rain warning for this evening. We're going to start off with snow. Depending on where you are, amounts are really going to vary, but it looks as though, generally speaking, throughout southern Ontario, 5 to 10 centimeters is expected. Thanks so much for joining us on the Weather Network. We are in storm watch.
Thank you for joining us. It's
Tuesday. It's the 3rd of March. We're in storm watch. System on the way, as Kevin was mentioning. He likes to give me all the good news. He takes all the bad stuff. Freezing rain warning in place for today. It's not for this morning. It's for later on this afternoon. We've got a system moving in from the United States. It's bringing with it quite a bit of moisture, and it's bringing with it quite a bit of warmth. So that is why we do have the freezing rain warning. The timing of this honestly couldn't be worse. We've got snow moving in through the London area right now. We'll start to see this tracking in through the GTA closer to around the noon hour, kind of 11 a.m. noon, and then the heaviest snow is going to be falling in between noon and 4 p.m. Moderate snowfall, we're looking at 1 to 2 centimeters per hour, so 6 to 7 centimeters before the freezing rain and ice pellet starts to kick in. Now look at the temperature discrepancy. We've got -4 up in Barrie, and we've got temperatures hovering around 0 this evening through Hamilton. So that big streak of consecutive days below 0 temperatures, that could be over. Yay, but it's coming with a price. We've got freezing rain and ice pellets in the forecast, so your drive home is going to be an absolute mess. Now, before we turn things over to Tom, we need to take a look at some must-see video. And I think, are we taking a look at the must-see video? Yes, we are. Take a look at this. But I don't know if I'd want it to be me. Here's Tom now with an update on your commute. Thanks so much for joining us on the Weather Network. We are in storm watch. I'm Emily Vukovic, and joining me, meteorologist Dr. Doug Gillum. We've got a messy system on the way, but it's certainly not an epic system. I think we really need to kind of drive that across, because we're not seeing tons of snow, and it's not going to be an ice storm.
No, it's not the snow totals. It's a storm of moderate proportions in terms of the 5 to 10 centimeters of accumulation. The problem is it will have a major impact on the afternoon and evening commute. The snowfall rates will be somewhat impressive for a couple of hours, 1 to 2 centimeters per hour, certainly enough to mess up the roads. You'll need to slow down and plan for a lot of extra time to get home.
Okay, so we do have a freezing rain warning in place. Now, obviously, this is more so for this afternoon and through this evening, stretches through Oakville, down through Burlington, Hamilton, kind of all the way over towards the Niagara region. There's going to be a big temperature discrepancy, isn't there?
Right. I'm going to highlight, this is not an ice storm. Most of the precipitation does fall as snow. It ends as ice pellets and freezing drizzle. Certainly a hazard in terms of making roads and sidewalks slippery, but this is not going to be a major buildup of ice accumulation. This will not be a power outage type system, just enough to make things very slippery. But again, we all start as snow, quick 5 to 10 centimeters, and then mixing and changing over to ice pellets. In the southern GTA, Hamilton, Burlington, up towards Oakville, seeing that risk for ending as freezing drizzle. Further to the north, just about all snow.
Okay, and yeah, you can actually see the big temperature discrepancy, because we've got -4 through Barrie this evening, but then Hamilton hovering around that freezing mark. So that warm front is really wanting to, give us a little tricky situation, but only in a very secluded spot.
Well, it looks like the streak of being below 0, of not breaking 0, will end tonight, because in the overnight, the temperature should pop up to around 1 degree for several hours, then temperatures will be dropping again by morning.
Oh, so we only hit 37 days.
Yes.
Shucks. Okay, so this evening, we've got that temperature discrepancy. We've got snow continuing mostly for Toronto areas east and north, but down towards the south end, we're looking at that freezing rain, that ice pellet, and then it all moves out rather quickly.
Right. Actually, will be really winding down during the evening. Most of the night, precipitation free, maybe just a few flurries tomorrow morning. Still messy from what has fallen, but really that's falling precipitation, not the issue in the morning, just the falling temperatures.
Well, okay, so we're going back into the deep freeze. Thanks, Doug, for that. Okay, snowfall amounts, as you were mentioning, 5 to 10 centimeters. I mean, Toronto, 6 to 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7. I mean, generally 5 to 10 across the GTA. We're going to see some variability in those amounts depending on how quickly we change over to ice.
Okay, so we've got the system, comes in, we've got a lot of cloud cover this morning. Heaviest snowfall.
We'll be right in the middle of the afternoon into the start of the commute again. Snowfall rates up to 2 centimeters per hour.
All right, so maybe take public transit today if you can. Thanks, Kevin. It is Tuesday. It is the 3rd of March, and we're talking winter, not spring. But if you missed the spring outlook that happened at 3 minutes past the hour, it's going to be happening again all day long. 3 minutes past the hour, spring outlook. You do not want to miss it. Okay, back to winter-like weather. We've got a freezing rain warning in place. This stretches from Oakville through Burlington, Hamilton, through the Niagara region. This is for later on today. Not so much for this morning, but later on this afternoon and through the evening. Right now, we're starting to see the snow coming in through Windsor, just on the doorstep, through London and then through Goderich. We are going to continue to see this snow, and it's a moderate snowfall. We're looking at about 1 to 2 centimeters per hour. Heaviest snow falling in between noon and 4 p.m. That's when we're going to start to see that transition as we get 4 p.m. onwards. Take a look at the temperature discrepancies. We've got -4 through Newmarket and Barrie, and then Hamilton hovering around the freezing mark. So anywhere that's around 0 is going to be seeing the potential for freezing drizzle, ice pellets. It's not going to be an epic snowstorm. It is not going to be an ice storm, but it is going to cause for very slippery road conditions because this is happening just as your evening commute kicks off. Clears out by the overnight. Tomorrow, a better day, but still quite slippery because temperatures are going to drop. Before we turn things over to Tom, let's take a look at this must-see video. Mommy, I wanted to go to the beach to build a sandcastle. I guess maybe they can build a snowman. Here's Tom now with traffic. Thanks, Kevin. It is Tuesday. It is the 3rd of March, and as spring is 17 days away, we're still talking about winter, but we have released our spring outlook, so make sure you catch it. It happens at 3 minutes past every hour, and then tonight, your regional outlook at about 9 p.m., so you don't want to miss this. You can either set your PVR, you can catch a couple of minutes. I've even posted a link to it on our website, on my Twitter feed, if you're not near a TV for the rest of the day. We've got a freezing rain warning in place through Oakville, down through Burlington and Hamilton and through the Niagara region. This is for later on this afternoon. We're starting off with snow, and as you can see, it is already starting to build into the Windsor area. We're already starting to see some accumulation on the roadways. By later on this afternoon, it'll be our story through the GTA. We're looking to see the snow start at around noon. Heaviest snowfall is going to be in between noon and 4 p.m., and we're looking at moderate snow, about 1 to 2 centimeters an hour. Now, later on this afternoon, this precipitation is going to be switching over to ice pellets and freezing drizzle, and you can see why. Look at our temperature discrepancy. Orangeville -4. You'll likely stay all snow. You'll likely stay all snow in Newmarket as well, but look at Hamilton. Going to be hovering right around that freezing mark. That warm front really wants to play games with us here, and it's going to switch us back and forth. Very dangerous driving conditions because this is happening just in time for your evening commute. Honestly, the timing on this couldn't be worse. We're looking at it clearing out through the overnight, but not before dropping 5 to 10 centimeters of snow and then a little bit of freezing rain and ice pellets on top of that. All right, we're going to check in with Tom in just a minute, but first, take a look at this must-see video. Trapped inside, but luckily after a second search, everybody got out safely. Here's Tom now with an update on your commute. Stephanie, I'm with you. I am right for skipping all the way to summer, and I bet you Tom Reynolds will agree. We'll check in with him in traffic conditions in just a few moments. First, let's talk about this storm watch scenario we're in. We've got a freezing rain warning through Oakville, Burlington, through Hamilton, over towards Woodstock, Simcoe, Dunnville. Everybody's included in this, especially to the south, which is where we're going to see that big temperature discrepancy. Right now, however, it is all coming in as snow. We're starting to see accumulation through Windsor. It's pushing in through the London area right now. We are going to continue to see snow for the better part of the day through much of southern Ontario. For the GTA, we're looking at about noon to 4 p.m. That's our heaviest window, and that's where we're going to see moderate snowfall, 1 to 2 centimeters an hour. The freezing drizzle and the freezing rain and ice pellets are going to be moving in more so later on this afternoon in through this evening, and there's that temperature discrepancy that Kevin was mentioning. We're looking at -4 through Newmarket, likely to stay all snow, but then through Hamilton, temperatures hovering around the freezing mark because of that warm sector, because of that warm front. That's where we're going to see the biggest risk of ice pellets and freezing drizzle. And of course, it's happening just in time for the evening commute. Very dangerous road conditions. 5 to 10 centimeters, generally speaking, right across the GTA. We'll talk to Tom in just a moment, but first, take a look at this awesome video. Tom Reynolds, he has an update on your commute. Thanks for joining us. We are in Storm Watch. I'm Emily Vukovic, and we've got a freezing rain warning in place. It's for later on this afternoon and in through this evening. It stretches from Oakville down through Burlington, Hamilton, over towards the Niagara region, and all the way over towards Woodstock. We are going to be seeing a change in precipitation because first we're going to be dealing with snow. Now, it's a moderate snowfall, seeing 1 to 2 centimeters an hour. Generally speaking, about 5 to 10 centimeters. Okay, enough about winter. Let's talk about spring. Here's our spring outlook. Thanks, Kevin. Well, we do have a freezing rain warning in place, but this is more so for this afternoon and in through this evening. We are going to start off as all snow. Freezing rain warning stretches through Oakville, Burlington, through Hamilton, and through the Niagara region, all the way down towards Simcoe and Woodstock. As you can see from the radar, all of it's coming into snow right now. We're starting to see accumulation through Windsor and in through London. This is a moderate snowfall event. The heaviest snowfall will be falling in between around noon and say 4 p.m. and it's going to be falling at a rate of about 1 to 2 centimeters an hour. We are going to see that transition because of the temperature discrepancy between the north and the south later on this afternoon and through the evening. So by this evening, Barrie, Orangeville, Newmarket, it looks as though you're going to stay all snow at -4. Even Toronto, there's a good chance of all snow, but just west and south of the city through Hamilton over towards Brantford, that's where we're going to start to see that transition on. Unfortunately, it's coming in just in time for your evening commute. If you can take public transit today, please do so because roads are going to be a mess because first we're going to see 5 to 6 centimeters of snow, and then on top of that, freezing drizzle and ice pellets. Now, it's certainly not an epic snowfall, and it's not going to be an ice storm, but the timing of these two things collaborating is going to be bad when you're on the roads, and this is what's going to be falling. Moves out tonight. Generally speaking, we're looking at about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow by the time it's all said and done. Tomorrow, temperatures dropping throughout the day, so everything will freeze. Not a good scenario for traffic. Speaking of which, here's Tom with more details. Thanks, Kevin. Well, yeah, good and bad, depending on which way you're looking at it. It is Tuesday. It is the 3rd of March, and we do have a freezing rain warning in place. This is bad. But the good part about this is that our temperatures are going to be hovering around 0, which we haven't seen since January 24th. It's been a while, so that might be good news to some. Oakville, Burlington through Hamilton over towards the Niagara region, seeing the freezing rain later on this afternoon and in through this evening. For now, it is starting as all snow. As you can see, it's moving in through the Windsor area, up through London, just on the doorstep through Hamilton. We'll see it in the next couple of hours. Noon to about 4, that's the heaviest snow window. Moderate snowfall, 1 to 2 centimeters an hour from Hamilton through Toronto, up through Barrie and in through Orillia. By later on this evening, we are going to be seeing that transition to snow, to freezing rain, ice pellets, some mixing. And look at the temperature discrepancy. 0 through Hamilton, -4 in Barrie. Looks as though areas further north staying straight snow. It's just going to be those areas, kind of the southern tip of Lake Ontario and west of the city, seeing that risk of freezing rain and ice pellets, making for a very slippery driving situations. And this is the timing of this is awful. I don't think it could be worse. It's happening right as your evening commute begins. Once the system moves out, we've got colder air behind it. Generally speaking, 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Before I throw things over to Tom, let's take a look at this must-see video. Long-range details just ahead, but first, here's Tom. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, we are in storm watch for this fairly impactful system. Now, I say fairly because we're not seeing tons of snow. We're not going to be seeing tons of ice accretion, but the timing of this is really bad. As Kevin was mentioning, we've already started to see the snow down to the south, and we do have a freezing rain warning in place through Oakville, Burlington, through Hamilton, down through the Niagara region. This is for later on this afternoon and into through this evening. Starting off the snow, you can see on the radar, we're already starting to see an accumulation through Windsor and a little bit through London. The heaviest snowfall is going to be falling in between noon and 4 p.m., and we're looking at about 1 to 2 centimeters an hour, so moderate snowfall. And then temperatures are going to start to rise to the south. We've got that warm front coming in, and look at the discrepancy. We've got -4 through Newmarket, Barrie, through Orangeville, likely to stay all snow. -2 in Toronto. There's a very fine line. If that temperature switches a degree or two, that's where we could see a little bit of freezing drizzle and freezing rain. And then through Hamilton over towards Brantford, that's where that warm front's going to lie. That's our best chance of seeing freezing rain as well as some ice pellets, and that's what's going to make our drive absolutely treacherous, because all of that is going to be falling on top of 5 to 6 centimeters of snow. So very, very, very dangerous afternoon commute if you happen to be driving through those areas at the timing of the freezing rain. Once the system moves out, we'll see a little bit of lake effect throughout the day tomorrow. Colder temperatures on the way, and generally speaking, about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. All right, before I turn things over to Tom, let's take a quick look at this must-see video. Goodness. Imagine being in that building? No, thank you. All right, long-range details are just ahead, but first, I'm going to turn things over to Tom. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. It is March the 3rd. I'm Emily Vukovic, and we are in storm watch. Fairly impactful system moving in from the United States, bringing with it a lot of moisture and a lot of warm air. We have a freezing rain warning in place stretching from Oakville through Burlington, through Hamilton, in through the Niagara region. We are going to be seeing this later on this afternoon and in through this evening. For the most part, we're starting off as all snow. We are going to be seeing a moderate snowfall anywhere between 1 to 2 centimeters an hour between the hours of about noon and 4 p.m. That's when we're going to start to see that transition move over. So the temperature discrepancy will really show you why we are going to be transitioning through freezing rain and ice pellets. Look at the north. Look at Barrie and Newmarket, -4. Chances are good you're going to stay all snow. So your snowfall accumulations could be closer to 10 centimeters. Now down towards the south through Brantford and in through Hamilton, notice how you're hovering around the freezing mark by later on this evening. Well, that's where we're going to see that freezing rain and ice pellet scenario play out. But that's going to be on top of about 5 to 6 centimeters of snow. So very, very slippery and dangerous road conditions later on this afternoon. No, it is not an epic snowfall, and no, this is not going to be another ice storm, but timing of this is really what's going to be the most hurtful, really, because if you don't take public transit and you're going to be driving home in between the hours of, say, 4 and 7, things are going to get really dicey, because that's where we're going to see our best chance of freezing rain. And 5 to 6 centimeters of snow isn't fun to drive in either, is it? No. So this is all going to move out later on tonight and into pre-dawn Wednesday. We're just looking at a little bit of lake enhancement off the shores of Huron and Georgian Bay. Generally speaking, throughout southern Ontario, we're looking at 5 to 10 centimeters. So yes, a decent amount of snow, but I think it's going to be the timing of the system that'll certainly be the worst for us. We'll talk to Kevin in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at this must-see video. I'm not sure how often, but I think the kids were enjoying it because they were playing in it like it was snow. All right, time to check in with Kevin. He's in downtown Kitchener this morning. It's the calm before the storm, but today, Kevin, much colder than it was yesterday. Yeah, agreed. Okay, thanks so much, Kevin. Okay, enough about winter for just a moment. Let's talk about spring. Our spring outlook was released today. You can catch it at 3 minutes past every hour, and your regional outlook comes again tonight at 9 p.m., so you don't want to miss it. Now, temperatures may feel a little bit more spring-like by tomorrow morning because we're still going to be hovering around that freezing mark, but more Arctic air moving in, which means our temperatures are going to be dropping throughout the day, and by Thursday we are back into the cold. We're looking at -8, feeling like -15. Next best chance of active weather coming in Friday into Saturday. Light snow from a clipper system moving in from across the prairies. Temperatures by the weekend, however, do bump up to season.